Hey everybody, Andy from Tennis Euphoria, bringing you my review of the Yonex VCORE 9.5 2023. So on paper, not a lot has changed here. We still have the 95 square inches, 16 by 20, 310 target unstrung weight. Of course, with Yonex rackets, they are usually very well quality controlled. No exception with this one. Mine was on weight. It was a few points under swing weight, strung with Solinco Hyper G initially. I was at 316 on my swing weight. I believe the target is 320, 321. I did restring through my week and a half with it, with Yonex Polytour Pro. That worked really well too. My swing weight with that was 314. Of course, the Solinco Hyper G was a 16 gauge. My Polytour Pro was a 17 gauge, so a small change in swing weight there. But for that swing weight, the racket felt actually surprisingly stable and I felt surprisingly powerful. So small changes on paper, but there are some changes to the frame that are worth mentioning because they have a huge impact on the racket. So as I understand it, all they've done is slightly change the hoop at the top. They've widened it. Sadly, I've sold on my previous VCORE 9.5, so I can't compare them for you on the video, but I have hit both of the previous, well, all of the previous. The most recent I liked. For some reason I couldn't quite gel with it. Part of that was because of my timing and where I connect the ball. Check out my video about where you connect on the string bed. For me, it means that typically Yonex rackets are a little bit lost on me because my connection point is a little bit lower than the optimal isometric head shape offers. The all red, I think 2018 or 19 version of the VCORE 9.5 had nice feel, lacked a little bit of power. I remember needing to customize that a fair bit to make it really effective, but that played well. The small changes on this one are really significant. This is such an improvement on the line. I almost sort of can't overemphasize it. It's amazing really how some small changes, small bits of evolution can really improve a racket greatly, in my opinion. I believe also that the string spacing is affected a little, so the 16 by 20 pattern is opened up a little bit, perhaps offering a little bit more of that power, and I found also spin generation. So what is this racket like? Well, I describe it as the Swiss Army knife of tennis rackets. It's amazing how a small, reddish, really well made tool can do so many different things. So as I mentioned, my connection point is often a little bit lost on rackets. I tend to connect right in the middle of a string bed. Yonex frames with their isometric sweet spot and a head shape tends to mean that the sweet spot sort of flares and goes towards the top. I think that the sweet spot on this version of the 95 is probably improved, maybe because of that spacing, perhaps extends down a little bit. It just meant that for me, I felt like the sweet spot was huge for a 95 square inch, and I was just connecting. It felt perfectly all the time. I've typically found that smaller head sizes work particularly well on my forehand, which is a little bit old-fashioned, but can be quite effective with a accurate racket which has some plow through. This offers that on my forehand. I've often then had the challenge of needing a slightly more forgiving, ideally 98 or 100 square inch racket on my backhand. I hit with this VCORE 95 and just can't believe that it isn't a 98 or 100 square inches on my backhand. It just feels so forgiving. And I find it amazing really that the swing speed is so fast, but yet it's still stable and my timing always feels okay with it. The issue I had with the VCORE 98 was I quite liked it on my forehand, but I found it to just lack accuracy. Also found that I couldn't get my timing down on my backhand side. Just not the case with this 95. None of it makes sense, does it? You'd think the 98 would be more forgiving, but this 95 is more forgiving. So I think what I loved about it was that sort of versatility. Whatever you ask the VCORE 95 to do, it responds, and the only thing that's holding it back really is the player's ability. So if you want to hit deep with a lot of spin, great, it will let you do that. If you want to flatten out your shot and really be aggressive, it will let you do that. And I could find times both in play or with my slinger, I'd be thinking, right, really deep, hit the line with this. It does it. Right, I'm going to flatten out, shorten up the shot. Yeah, I can do it. Angles you can hit, drop shots, amazing feel. For me, I know that it is reduced to a 61 in RA, and that takes it right into my ideal area. I love a 60 to 63 RA. For me, that's just perfect feel. I feel most connected, and I know others will prefer stiff, but for me, perfect on that front. Loads of speed on the racket, so you can get great serves. Also, of course, the spin aerodynamics from the VCORE line means you can hit amazing slice and kick serves too. So I really just can't fault this racket. One thing to keep in mind if you are considering a Yonex frame or shopping around for a Yonex frame, grip size. I actually think grip size is really important as someone who's really interested in human kinetics and strength and conditioning. Of course, if you have a grip that's too small or too big, that will have a surprising effect on your game and your swing and your whip. I usually play with a grip size 3 and an overgrip. With Yonex frames, I find their grips to be quite big, so I was actually using a grip 2 with an overgrip, and that was perfect. I was finding it to be equivalent to a grip 3 on a lot of other frames. So there you go, it's resoundingly positive from me. It's actually thrown a massive cat amongst the pigeons because I was settling into 2 frames, so I want to enter some competitive tennis again this summer. I thought I'd found them. I thought that I'd also found a good mix of being able to hit loads of rackets for reviews and the right balance, being able to come back to those frames just to really dial in my game. But I have to say I'm going to be buying 2 of these VCORE 95s because I think these could be the tournament frames for me. I'm yet to hit with sort of real heavy hitters, so I've got a question mark about it on defence, but when I have been pressured in the games that I've played, the defence and the forgivingness and the sweet spot seems ample. So as I say, just can't fault this frame, and it's amazing how a small improvement, small changes can make such a drastic improvement on the line. My thanks to All Things Tennis for supplying me with the VCORE 95 to test. If you're in the market for a new frame, maybe this VCORE 95 or any others, then check out in the description link with a discount code. If you buy through All Things Tennis, you can get 10% off your purchase with my code. So I hope that's helpful to any of you out there. Thanks for watching the review. More coming up for you, and loads of other fresh content over the summer as I'll have a little bit more time for the channel, which is exciting. Massive thumbs up from me. Love this frame. Hope you do too if you hit it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.